What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin. What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin. We have another very special episode here of the Sit Down Podcast. Very special guest, my guy, Coach Will Lew. How's it going, boss?
How's it going, man?
Chilling. Thanks for coming, first of all. This is something I've been wanting to do with you for a while because we have these talks about, you know, you're like the OAL, like, I don't know, you just have all these, and you're hella good at telling stories also. Obviously, you know, on the way up here and before we started shooting, you were telling some of those I want you to repeat. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself as far as like, you know, where you grew up, you know, what high schools you went to, what coaches you played for, how you kind of got into coaching and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think out of all the people that you've had on here, I'm probably the most unique as far as I never played high school ball.
Really?
I grew up, went to school in Albany. Mm-hmm. By the time, never played organized sports, so first time I played organized sports was 8th grade, trying out for basketball.
Okay.
Horrible.
Okay.
I remember one time we had this big tournament and we're winning by one at going into halftime, mm-hmm. and coach is telling me, "Hey, make sure we don't foul." So you know, me being the team, you know, leader, you know, natural born leader. "Hey guys, make sure we don't foul. Make sure we don't foul." 4, 3, 2. Looked at coach like, "My bad." Right. So by the time I started high school, I'm about 4'10", 90 pounds, mm-hmm. and everyone that made the team over me was my boys that kicked my butt that had been playing. So it was like,
so you did try out, you just didn't make the team.
Yeah. My guidance counselor was the head varsity coach.
Okay.
And also my sister was friends with her daughter. So I known him since I was like 7 years old.
So did you feel like you had a for sure chance of making it? Wow.
No. Every one of my friends was better than me. I knew they was better. Unless they made like a 17th jersey, I wasn't going to make the team.
Right.
Who's taking a 4'10", 90-pound dude?
Yeah.
You know, so I actually got cut 4 years in a row. But I tried out every year because my boys were trying out.
Yeah.
By my senior year, I graduated high school at about 5'7", 125. Right. So my senior year, coach told me, you know what you're doing. You just can't really do it on the court.
Right.
Mr. Ujai at the middle school needs referees and coaches. So I refereed in the middle school. Mr. Ujai, he was the head football coach at Laney. He's like, probably gonna be a Hall of Famer, JC coach. You know, he's that dude. But he's also the PE coach at my middle school.
Gotcha.
And coach basketball. So he gave me my first coaching job. Kind of goes back to like the opportunities I've gotten. Mm-hmm. He had no reason to ever give me a chance to coach. He was the first person in my life to ever give me a B on my report card.
What were you getting before?
It was his PE teacher's aide.
But what were your grades before?
All A's.
And you got a B. Well, I didn't know. I mean, it could be the other way though. Like, I'll get all F's, and he's the one dude that passed
me. He gave me a B as his PE teacher's aide.
Oh, yeah. And then why is that?
I went with my report card. I was like, "Coach, why did I get a B? You know, my mom gonna kill me, right?" Uh-huh. And he was like, "Did you read the little comment?" So I read the comment. I was like, "What does initiative mean?" He was like, "Exactly," and just walked away. Okay. So I went home and looked up initiative. I should have looked up in the first place. So the next day I was like, I understand the word now, but like I don't know how to apply it. Like mm-hmm. I'm 12, 13 years old. He's like, we're gonna play volleyball in PE. Do you need me to ask you to bring out the balls, or should you be like, "Hey, let me get the keys so I can get set up"?
Gotcha.
So that B was probably the only thing I ever learned in public schools. Was like I learned the most off of just that B. I just carried that the rest of my life. So
that's pretty deep.
But he didn't have to give me a chance to coach because, but he did. And not only did he do that, like he gave me a lot of freedom considering I never coached or played. And
at this time, did you ever feel like, obviously your coach told you knew what you were doing, but you just couldn't do it. Did you feel like you knew what you were doing, or it was just kind of a natural,
I didn't know any better.
Second nature type thing?
Yeah, I didn't know any better. I mean,
you were just doing what you knew.
I grew up in a generation where like we all looked at, Magic, Bird, like passing and IQ was huge.
Right.
So that's how I played. I was a good playground player.
Right.
I knew what I wanted to try to do when we played 5-on-5, but like didn't really work out once,
right.
But so I loved the game, but it wasn't a priority. Like by that time, I graduated high school, going to college. I coached at the middle school for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. By that time, I had grown to 6 feet. So playing ball at the RSF, like I would literally cut class, all the kids out there watching, don't cut class. But I was literally paying to go to school, to cut class, to go hoop at RSF, and sit there for hours watching the good players.
What is RSF?
The recreational sports facility at Cal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go to Cal.
I go to Cal.
And
I'm cutting class
you're
to
not
watch people hoop.
You're paying to go to school, but you're not going to class because you're watching the hoop.
Yeah. And
wow.
I taught myself how to shoot.
Okay.
I taught myself post footwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that carried me over when I actually started coaching to where, like, if I could teach my dumb ass how to do it, I should be able to teach,
anybody.
Little Jimmy with 2 left feet how
Right.
to do it.
Right.
Especially at the Albany, you're not going to get elite talent. So there's all the Albany schools. You're not getting elite talent. Are we going to go into these games assuming we're going to lose, or are we going to develop? Well, I went from being a horrible player to, I hold my own against some really good players.
Right.
So yeah, 3 years at Albany Middle School. The coach that cut me, 4 years, gave me my first high school coaching job.
Is that at Albany also?
Albany High.
How were you guys doing at the middle school? Were you winning?
It depends. So that's the weird thing about Albany at the time is, like, if you compare to other places, we get our butts kicked.
Right.
But my group exceeded people's expectations. I coached back then. You had the A team and the B team. The A team was your, basically your varsity. Your B team was the second level, and my B team would routinely beat the A team in scrimmages, and then coach would move a couple guys up, move a couple guys down, and we'd still kill them.
Right.
So that was when I got a little bit of confidence. Like, like coaching traditionally, he's probably a better coach than me, but like being able not accepting that he's going to win and figuring out a way to play a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was one of the things I learned early is that, like, I'm super competitive. So I'm gonna figure out a way to win.
Right.
So like even with playing against Mac back, it's not like we won against but it's like Mook is like a man child.
Yeah.
And if
you don't know Mook and he walks in the gym, you think he's a coach.
Yeah,
in high
he's
school.
Freaking
probably in middle school.
6'5", 230.
Yeah.
If we post up our 5'11",
right.
140 guy against them, we're gonna lose every time.
Right.
How do we even the playing field? That's kind of been my mentality coming through the Albany ranks. It's like I got a couple of Asian kids, a couple of kids with with 7 fingers. It's like, how do we get these guys to be able to compete? Because I don't want to lose.
Right.
How do I get them? I may not turn them into 10s, but if I can turn a bunch of 4s into 6s, maybe we can compete. If a couple 6s believe they're 7s, we're even better. So moving on to the Albany High School, I tell this story all the time. My first year with my boy Dave, we went 0-24.
What level are you coaching?
JVs.
JV.
And I think the last game of the season against St. Elizabeth, we hit a layup at the buzzer to lose by 19. What? And we celebrated because it was like the closest game we had all year.
Wow.
We didn't have a home gym, so we had to go for like an hour, 15 minutes to Alameda Naval Air Station to practice for like an hour and then hop on a bus and come back.
Really?
They
From
tore down
Albany?
Yeah, they tore down the school for the retrofitting for the earthquakes. So we had no gym and like
now the gym there is super nice, right?
Yeah. So from 0-24, and then my last year at Albany, we went 23-1.
And how many years in between?
It's like 6-7 years.
So year 1, 0-24. Year 6
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Year 24-1 or what is
23-1.
it? 23-1.
Yeah, and then that was my last year there before I came over to Ojai.
Was it a slow, gradual?
Yeah.
Growth, obviously.
Yeah, 0-24, 6 and whatever.
Right.
10 and whatever.
Going into these seasons, what are you telling yourself? Like, because obviously I'm a brand new head coach, and obviously you want to improve every year. Like, are you giving yourself just little, goals and stuff to hit? Like, hey, let's win. We won 0 games last year. Let's win 1, and then once we win 1, obviously the other games you're probably getting closer in the ones that you're still losing. But are you like gradually, giving yourself goals to try to?
I think my goal everywhere I've coached has never been wins and losses. It's figure out what we have, get the most out of them. So if this team is capable of winning 4 games, if we win 7, that's better than a team that's capable of winning 15 and we win 12.
100%.
So get the most out of what we have. and especially at the Albany level, I don't know if this is a subconscious thing where it's like, trying to, psych myself out to, but it's like realistically, you look at this group, don't have that much talent. Let's see what we can do. Oh, this group got a little more talent. How do we develop it? This group, there's 3 good players. How do we get these other 4 or 5 players better so we can compete? And that's kind of always been my philosophy.
Got you. So after 24-1, do you move up to varsity or do you leave Albany?
So the year before we went 23-1, I'm at a house party, and my boy that I know since 8th grade is friends with Watkins.
Okay.
And you know how you meet someone and it's like, oh, Justin, no, this is my friend. Hey, coach, y'all coach.
Yeah, what's up?
Shake hands, what's up?
Yeah.
Right? That didn't happen with Watkins. We shook hands, and the first thing he said was, oh, you want to come coach at Oakland High? Didn't even, no introduction beyond my boy introduced us. We shake hands, you want to come to Oakland High?
Really?
Right? So I'm like, I'll think about it. But, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know enough to even think about it. It was just
what year is this?
So I came to Ojai in 05, so 04.
Who was on the team then, varsity?
That year that I didn't come would have been Marcus Carson and those guys.
I don't know if I remember. Where's Allende at this point?
Allende was at Cal.
Is he a freshman? Because he was what year was Allende? 03?
02, 03?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, Allende would have been like a freshman or sophomore.
Okay.
But so I didn't move to Ojai that year, but it already started crossing my mind.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah, you actually might know him. One of my players at Albany, he's an Oakland kid, Eric, played football, super athletic.
Eric.
He would have been class of 07.
Oh, so I probably wouldn't for sure know him.
You probably would recognize his face.
Yeah.
But anyways, he was, I forget where he was commuting from, Modesto or some shit, something crazy.
Really?
So it was one of those things where I wanted to make sure I was taking care of him, not just basketball wise, but just that's my little bro.
Right.
Academically, socially, Albany's a weird.
How old are you at this point?
04, so maybe 27, 28.
Okay.
Yeah, so I stayed an extra year at Ojai. At Albany. Even when I decided I was going to move over to Ohio, I was like, I got to take care of business first. I had a bunch of kids that I was really close to that I wanted to make sure were, taken care of.
Right. You didn't want to leave them.
Yeah. So we actually we set up a game. We actually played Ojai that year, and my JV spanked them by about 30. And I think Eric was the only person that knew before the season that I was going to leave the following year.
Oh, so you had decided you were probably going to go, just not yet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't do it this year, et cetera. So, so I finished out that year at Albany, and similar to what I do at Ohio, I was coaching the JVs with my brother, but then I would also sit on the bench in the varsity, and then the fall, literally, maybe a week after, our season's over, I'm at Ohio Open Gyms. Let me even rewind that. The previous summer, knowing that it was a possibility, I had a little summer team with 5 of my Albany guys and then 3 or 4 of the Ojai guys. We play a MVP flight, some of the local AAU tournaments, So, familiarize myself, but then also expose my Albany guys to a different level of basketball. We was lightweight running through people. That was the funny part about it. It's the teams we would play against would literally talk to, the Ojai guys, PJ, whatever, be like, who are they? They're pretty good. I was like, a bunch of Albany kids. So, yeah, we.
So now you come on the board to Ojai, and how was that at first?
That's one of the things that we were talking about that on the car on the ride up. There wasn't really much of a transition period. Watkins always just embraced me and let me do what I do, incorporated me into everything he was doing. And it wasn't wait and see and feel it out. It was we know what you do this.
Right.
In fact, the first workout I remember Drake Green?
Yeah.
So Drake is over on the side form shooting, and he's like, hey, go work with him. I walk up to Drake. I was like, what's up? Drake don't talk, right?
Right.
Shooting. What's your name? Drake. You playing on JV? Yep. Did you play when y'all played Albany? Yep. Did you start? Yeah. Did you do anything? Because I don't remember a single thing you did when we won by 30, right? And he looked at me like, who is this? And ever since then, me and him been real cool. That's my guy. But that's just,
That's hilarious.
That was the transition. PJ, I had brought some Albany guys to an Ojai open gym, when PJ was in 8th grade. So I had already been kind of familiar with him. So, since day one, me and him was super close, especially him being a point guard, and we both have big round heads. So, so transition-wise, with Ojai, it was like second nature. But one of the things that I really appreciated about the OAL, I remember before the first OAL game, Watkins had kind of told me it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand what he meant because you've been a part of intense games, rivalry games, whatever. And I just remember because varsity played before JVs
at that time.
Yeah, and I just remember about 2 minutes before the game, and I'm looking around like this is different.
Who were y'all playing? Do you remember?
I believe it was Skyline.
At Skyline or at Ojai?
Yeah, at Ojai.
What was different about it?
It just is different.
The feel.
It's not better. It's not worse. It's different.
It's different.
It was just the whole energy in the room. It was just a different vibe.
I feel like a little bit this year, I started feeling that again.
Yeah.
A little bit this year. Obviously I haven't been around as much as you have, but this year I felt like almost every game we had, at least, there was a decent crowd. Everybody was into it. The almost fights and everything. It felt like home. Even
without the big crowds, even with the talent being up and down, it could be the 5th place game against a 6th place team, and that vibe is still there. Here's one of my stories. I think we were about to play Skyline. Kwame and PJ were sophomores, I think.
Okay.
And the whole talk in the town.
So this is your JV team or varsity?
No, varsity.
Oh, it's a varsity game.
And the whole talk of the town was kind of who's the best point guard in the OAL?
Out of PJ and Kwame?
Yeah, and word on the street, barbershop talk, this, that, and the other, and then we end up playing, and there was a play where PJ's going to save a ball and Kwame pushed him 4 rows into the bleachers, they chest to chest, right? And then a couple days later, I pick up PJ to go work out. I forget where he was at, and he's like, "Hey, can we go pick up my boy?" I was like, "Okay." Pull up in his Kwame,
Right.
That's what I mean by it's different. Y'all literally about to kill each other, and then all of a sudden it's can we work out?
I think that's how I was taught. Me and Melvin Landry, we were here yesterday, and we were talking about that. And it's us as obviously PJ is my family, so it's a little bit different. But all of us are it's a weird, of course we go hard at each other, but it's like a family. You know what I mean? Even if we don't talk to each other all the time, all of us aren't super close with each other, but it's still we all support and love. And
the way I see it from the outside coming into it and then now being a part of it is the ones that all take care of business in the classroom, that take care of business in the gym, that been through these wars together. You guys have a common bond. So it didn't surprise me when Vinny and PJ started a business up in Portland. I don't know how much it surprises Will Cherry when I randomly show up at one of his games,
right?
Whether it was college or the pros or whatever. I just randomly show up a game,
and that's what I always say about you, because even for me in college, and when I was in high school, we were always cool. We weren't super close, you know what I mean? But you would always reach out to me. You would always write on if I write a status or something, you would respond. You always would check up on me,
butter you up so we can try to beat you.
But it's that's just, I want to commend you for that though, because you're one of the I think I texted you this a few weeks ago. It's you're a genuine person, and I know you really care about all of it, even people that never played for you, because I never played for you, obviously, and we competed against each other.
So on the topic of Will Cherry,
okay,
because I watched the podcast here.
Okay.
His game-winning shot against Ojai when he was a freshman. I'm gonna tell my side of the story.
That he talked about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that was I believe my first or second year at it's my second year at Ojai, and all my Albany guys I stayed that extra year for were seniors.
Okay.
So JV played after varsity.
Right.
And it was Coach D that was the JV coach. I forget who it was, but play ball with him on Sundays. I know him. So I told him, I was like, hey, if it's a close game, we're not going to overtime. I might get a T because I need to leave to go to senior night.
Oh, wow.
This is before the game. So we playing the game. Didn't cross my mind that it would really happen.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, it's like, close game. I think we was up 2. And coming off the timeout, I'm, in my head, conventional wisdom, probably going to go to the basket, try to draw a foul, get to the cup, offensive rebound. Then I see Will standing in the corner, like, with that little, like, mischievous, Will, like.
Yeah.
Then I look kind of how they're setting up, double screen baseline. I'm yelling, double screen baseline. This fool run across, and I think he might have caught the ball inside the three, and took a step back to shoot the 3.
And made it. And when we're shaking hands, he was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to go to overtime. I heard you. Will was like that?
Yeah. He said something like, I heard you need to leave or something like that. And I'm like, what you, like 13?
That sounds like Will, too. That sounds like Will.
And then, so that's my story with Will. And then, like, I think even to this day, every time I run into him at, go to the Santa Cruz Warriors game, where it's like, I would say one of the first things out of my mouth is like, either fuck you or why you got to bring up old shit? and then it's like, and then it's love. But I need to get that off my chest. I think we were 0-9 against him in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't live for 2 years.
Yeah, I know, but that is a good point.
Yeah, so I think it's 0-9 against him for his career.
Damn.
So every time we bring it up, it's like, why you got to bring up old shit? But no, as far as like with him and that whole group goes, it's like your whole group for that 2 or 3 year period, our whole group for that 3-4 year period. Yes, all did your thing. College degrees, professionals, reaching back to the town. It's like it's not a surprise that like with Mook, when I was at City College watching the AU tournament, when Mook had decided to leave SMU, and he was there to watch Steady.
Got you.
And me and him were talking, and I was like, "Where are you headed?" He said, "I don't know. So and so making these calls, but I don't know." I was like, "Did you go to Weber?" It's like, "Hell yeah." It's like, "Have you talked to Dame?" Nah, I didn't think about it. Called Dame. I was like, "Would you think he could help you? Like, would be any issues?" He's like, "Hell yeah."
Right.
Then literally like a week later, he's like, he's going to Weber, and I was like,
"That's huge."
But it's not a surprise to me because we birds of a feather.
Right.
I'm surprised y'all didn't think about it.
Right.
Or maybe y'all thought about it but never put it into action.
Yeah.
It's like, just make that call. That's
I mean, at that age, and most of us aren't thinking like that. Obviously you're older and you have like you got a little bit more common sense, I would say, at that moment.
Yeah, but it's family. Like, Memo.
Right. I love.
My guy.
Yeah, Memo's.
In fact, going back to talking about transitioning to the OAL, I'd say about 2 or 3 games into my first year, me and Watkins and I forget who else was driving around. He gets a text and he said, "You want to go get some food?" I was like, "Okay." And we end up at Coach Mo's house. He had a little barbecue, playing cards or whatever. And, me being me, I'm an outsider. I'm always very aware of where I'm at. So, I said, "Mo, thanks for inviting me, da-da-da." And he was like, and I recall this like it was yesterday because it made me, it validated, like, a lot of, like, but he was basically like, "You're one of us. Welcome to OAL." I think Coach Mo, Boozy, Coach Pleasant from Castlemont.
I remember Pleasant.
It was like, I think Coach Ransom was at Skyline at the time, so he was there. It was like a bunch of the OAL, like OGs,
yeah.
The OAL Illuminati. Some random, bald Chinese guy walk in, and it's like, "You one of us?" "Oh, okay, I'll take that."
Yeah, that's crazy because I know when I first got the job, I was making, and you reached out to me. Obviously, Watkins reached out to me. Scott, obviously, I talk to him every day. Correga reached out to me as well. So it's like, it's good that obviously when you came in, that was done for you, and then when I came in, you were like welcome, and you gave me a lot of advice on like what to expect, and even if it was time like with my scheduling and everything, you were really hands on with helping me, making sure everything was as smooth and selling as it could be, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
I mean, out of all the coaches I've mentioned, from Coach Ushiomi, Coach Kagawa, Watkins, Coach Mo, it's like I've always gotten that. And I think the type of coaches that wouldn't do that are coaches that, it's like birds of a feather. Like the good people are going to hang around the good people.
Right.
Like even to this day, like Coach Mellis at Salesian, I've never worked with him. I don't think, we have beaten him. But, we've had, some,
Battles.
a lot of, games back and forth while I was at Albany and, the first few years at Ojai. And, he's always, reached out, looked out. We talk periodically, but it's always like that vibe is always there. Where if I need something, he's one of those guys I can reach out to.
Right.
And I'm assuming he feels vice versa. So.
Yeah, no, that's super dope. I'm gonna ask you a question, but you don't have to answer it right now. I want you to kind of think about it. What would you say your all-time OAL team would be? Your 5 all-time
from the time
that you were
I
involved.
coached all time.
You want to answer it now, or you want to wait and kind of think about it?
I won't be able to think about it while I'm talking about something else.
Okay, well let's.
So I'll throw out names.
All right. I want you to go by position.
That's the tough part.
I know. I want it to be tough.
No, because like my mentality towards basketball, we don't really do positions.
Right. Okay. You're right. You're right.
But
so,
also,
okay. Let's just say your top 5.
So here's the question: are you talking about top 5 best players or the team that I would put out there?
The team you will put out there. Your team.
I'm for sure going with Dame.
Oh, yeah. Dame Lillard.
Dame Lillard. For sure going with Jabari.
Jabari Brown.
And then from there, I'd probably...
That's a lot of buckets.
Yeah.
That's a lot of buckets.
That's why I asked that, because I would put Dan Powell on that group because he could do all the other stuff.
Yep.
Like literally, if and when Jabari and Dame miss, which they won't miss that much, that thing's getting tipped up.
Yeah, 100%. And he's going to keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the perfect...
He's going to take charges. You
perfect
love charges.
pick and roll partner.
Yeah.
Like imagine him and Dame pick and roll in high school. Jeez. So I'll say those 3. Yeah, I'm biased.
Of course, you're supposed to be.
So I would definitely put Dominique in there because that's another guy that does
Taplin.
Yeah, Taplin.
That's big. I wouldn't expect that.
Probably, doesn't always need the ball.
Another cleanup guy also. Super athletic.
Yeah. My 4th guy.
That is 4. You need 5.
I mean, my 5th guy. Now, this is the tough part. I expect that if I don't say Will Cherry, he's going to show up at my house and try to play one-on-one or something.
Yeah, or he definitely, yes.
So I'm just going to take the politically correct. I would consider a guy like Mook because he's the ultimate leader, does a little bit of everything, and he's such a good passer that if we're running Dame and Barry off screens,
He could be the Draymond of that.
Yeah. John Green.
Oh my God, so underrated. Me and Q were talking about John Green when he came on the show.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else. You got guys like Booby.
Booby was nice.
But we'd have to change our offense if we played with Booby because
you got to go through
post
him.
touches.
Yeah, you got to go through him.
So that's how I think as a coach. You can never go wrong with another 6'4" guard like Kwame.
Yeah. OAL got some hoopers, man.
Wesley.
That's why I wanted to ask you that. Because somebody asked me that, and when they asked me that and I did my 5, I immediately wanted to hear your 5. Immediately, because obviously, like I said, you have so many stories every time we see each other.
Wesley Hansbard.
Nice. Nice.
Omari.
Nice.
Evans. Like there's Chris Oakes, Benny Rhodes.
See, I had Chris Oakes in mind.
Yeah. So this is like from my time coaching and watching the OAL from afar versus being in it. I know that the 2008 class used to talk about how the 2011 class, the OAL had gotten weak, this, that, and the other, right?
2011 is Barry in them, right?
Yeah. I think every team in the league had at least one D1 player.
In 2011?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Devereaux, Manley.
Oh, he was a bucket.
And I think
he was a bucket. That dude can shoot.
Yeah, and so you're talking about every team had at least one D1 player and maybe 3 to 5 4-year college players.
Really?
Then 2003 class with Allende and all those guys used to say how the 2008 class
was watered
the league
down.
had got watered down. And you're talking like you got NBA players,
yeah, right,
D1 guys,
right.
and that's just how good the league was.
So do you because we were 09, do you kind of couple us with 08?
I do because
Me too, though. I think we all do that.
I'm watching that perspective from my Ojai group. So we had a real good group, 08. We struggled, 09.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same.
Still the same.
Overlap.
Right,
you know?
right.
Same with 2011, 2010, 2012, you know, it's all, there's overlap, you know.
No, that makes sense.
But I always associate you with Mook's group. But you came after Mook, right?
Yeah, I graduated in 09.
Yeah, but it's like...
Oh, yeah, right. Everybody does that. So I didn't play on a 32-0 team. People think... And it's crazy because there's people that I'm, like, super close with that won't even... me and Will talked about that when he came up, too, which is,
you have the overlap of, you know, Powell and Cherry. And so there's overlap. And
right.
You know, and just the fact that, you know, you guys were successful and the way y'all carried yourself was similar... You know, even culture-wise, and even when Delani and all those guys were, it was just like a different feel.
Yeah.
You know,
no, 100%.
Not better or worse, but that's just
I know what you mean.
Personality.
I mean, it's I think anybody with eyes could see that.
Yeah, because even with like TJ played on 2018.
Right.
But he was he's a 13-year-old freshman.
Right.
Versus when he was 2011, you know, that's 3, you know, OAL first team.
And he played varsity as a freshman too.
He was second team as a freshman.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's a small freshman too.
Yeah,
he's a super small.
Well, his job as a freshman was easy.
What was it?
Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
You got PJ, you got TJ, you got Drake, you got all those guys.
Who do you think the most underrated player in the OAL from you being there? And then I'll tell you mine.
I definitely think Dominique Taplin, as good as he was, got overshadowed because he played with TJ and Bari. I would even say John Green didn't get the love that he should have gotten, because not only was he a great player, he was so nice and polite, but he would kill you.
Yeah.
And then literally, like, he would
smile.
He would destroy you, and after the game, be like, "Hey, coach, man, take care, man. I'll talk to you later."
Exactly.
You know, like,
actually, how your family's doing and stuff.
You don't know about my
yeah,
family.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
You know,
no, I agree with that one for sure. John Green is, like I said, he's a matchup nightmare because he's a guard, but he just grew. You know what I mean?
Who would you say?
I would say, for me, one of my favorite players ever growing up was PJ. One, because he's my older cousin, and like I've watched him since I was in the 4th grade, and always. That's why I was so close with watching Dame and them's whole group, because I was always with PJ.
Yeah.
Always with PJ.
I would not even have thought of saying PJ in that, because in my mind,
you hold him to a different
PJ
standard.
and Dondrell Campbell are kind of like the faces of the program when I got there, and still carrying through to this day. Like, I think Drell was with Dane when they gave the kind of the Zoom for the Ojai commencement.
Oh, okay.
Like, in my mind, like, you know, he was there, his older brother was there. So, like, even PJ, like, he sacrificed numbers, but like we were talking in the car, like, I don't think it was a sacrifice for him. He just wanted to win. He wanted to run a team. He's a pure point guard.
As pure as they come.
He's a natural born leader. So in my mind, I think people knew, maybe not outside of Oakland, but people in Oakland know who PJ Taylor is.
Yeah.
You know, they know that he's a hooper.
I feel like that. I feel like in Oakland, he doesn't get his just due, but I feel like obviously what he did in Portland was huge. And I don't know, I just feel like people don't mention him a lot.
Yeah.
And that, like, and he, as far as mind and the way he carries himself, he's always been like, I mean, obviously their whole family is like that.
Yeah.
TJ's the same way.
Yeah.
But PJ, and TJ's doing his thing now with the training, because like a lot of my clients mention that they work out with him as well, and, you know, salute to both of them. But for some reason, PJ I never felt like he got his just due. He was so nice to me. One of the best shooters. You know, he could handle the ball, play at his own pace. And I used to literally, like, watch him and kind of like.
When he was living in Berkeley, I was still living in Albany. So I would take him home after practice. And literally, like, we'd be in the car ride home, and I'd be like, up by 4, a minute 17 left. What are you thinking? Who are you talking to? Who's the guy that's gonna mess up then? You know, and we'd always have these, you know, talks, and it was never like, I would say by the time it got to game and practice, it was like, I don't need to talk to you. You know, we've already talked. You know, that look across the gym, make eye contact. We know what's going on. You know, trust him completely. I would love to be his assistant coach at one point.
I wouldn't mind doing that either.
You know,
I wouldn't mind doing that either, just because, like I said, the way P is one of those, and obviously TJ is as well, but P is one of those people who, since we were young, he acted like a grown man. Yeah. He carried himself as like an adult from like 5th grade to me.
What, TJ or PJ?
PJ. But TJ has he has qualities of that because his older brother.
Yeah.
And I remember when PJ stopped hooping. It's crazy because me and Mel yesterday were talking about West Campus.
Yeah.
And so me and I don't know if you remember, but PJ had decided to stop hooping in college.
After his freshman year.
Yeah, and this was I was going to New Mexico State, so I was working out with Rain because Menzies wanted me to work out with Rain before I came down there. So I had picked TJ up. We were going to go over to West Campus to work out, and he told me, he was like, man, P just said he finna stop hooping. And we both sitting in my car damn near in tears about this. And I'm like, nah, bro, how he gonna stop? And we just getting started. Like, and we both told P that. And then obviously it ended up deciding to go back hooping later, but I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. But we genuinely felt like, bro, how are you done? Like,
when he told me that, and it must have, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was earlier on in the decision process when he told me that. In my mind, the first thing I thought, I was like, no, you're not.
Right.
But the second part, because, like my end goal is always, the welfare of the kid.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And let me just pause right now. I mean, I've said it on Twitter. I need to stop calling y'all kids. like Juan.
I do it too.
Like Juan and Mill and those guys, organized that protest the other day. And I'm literally talking to my friends, a couple of my kids, wait, hold on, they grown.
Yeah, I do that too though. I do that with like Tutu and them. Same thing. Yeah. Like I don't know why I do that, but
that's just natural.
Yeah, I catch that.
I'm trying to catch it because I want to prop y'all up as grown adults that's doing adult things.
Of course.
But as far as PJ goes, it's like I told him, I was like, if you focus on school and that's the end goal, just get it done. I'll support you either way.
Mm-hmm.
In the back of my mind, you're not quitting.
Yeah.
Give it a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But I remember that call.
Yeah, that was wild. How do you feel? Like, obviously, I kind of know the answer, but how do you feel about the overall climate at OAL right now? And like, just how do you feel about that?
I think we've got some good coaches that all are connected into like trying to bring the league back.
Mm-hmm.
Talent-wise, demographic-wise, with gentrification and all that type of stuff, talent level, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But if we can get past that as coaches
mm-hmm.
and just, the kids that show up, get the most out of them, put them in positions to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
For the kids coming through elementary and middle school, the sooner we can build relationships that don't just depend on, I don't want you to come to my school.
Exactly.
Like if you can reach out to a kid and, hey, I heard you live in West Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Take care of your grades because Coach Justin not going to message you if you don't have grades.
Right.
And just planting that seed, and if you can get a good player and he beats me, who cares?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If he's the reason, if one kid is the reason y'all beat me, I'll live with it.
Right.
If you go up there snatching up every kid, then it's like, we got to do something.
Exactly.
But like if that's the goal, like one of the things like I've always wanted to do, but I don't know if the culture of Oakland basketball in the past would have allowed it, like doing like a middle school camp, $15, $20, just enough to pay for the insurance on the gym,
That's crazy because I've been thinking this. I've actually talked to Watkins about this at one of the meetings. And I said that yesterday when I was talking to Mel, and I was saying that that's exactly what I want to do. And I said for free, but I mean either or we could do, obviously.
Tip jar.
Right. And I'm sure with the people that have, us older guys, not just myself, people like myself in my class and generation, like the Wills, the PJ, all of us, I'm sure we can try to come up with a way to figure out how we can raise money to cover the expenses but I feel like if we put together a free camp every summer for the middle school kids and we just put our faces out there, you know what I mean?
I think one of the big things that prevents that from happening, maybe not so much now, I think now would be a good time to do it, but in the past is like, I don't want you talking to my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And not just at the high school level, but then now you have AAU coaches that might, I don't want to be one of those guys that generalizes, but there are some that it's like, I don't want you talking to my kid.
Of course.
You're going to steer him to this team, and that's my guy. And it's like, you know what? We can just put that aside and just do what's best for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Not even a one-time camp, but if we just, summertime.
That's what I'm saying.
Every other Saturday, just get them in there, skill work, small-sided games, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. And, oh, by the way, I'm going to need you to bring a report card. We might not exclude you if your grades are bad, but we definitely going to look at them and sit down and talk about them and figure out how to fix them.
Exactly.
And then check on you 6 months from now.
Let's do that, man. You got my word. If me and you can do that and figure out, we talk to whoever else and we can start planning that. It's going to take time to get it like situated and stuff. You got my, I'll do it. Yeah. I'll do it because I want, like I keep saying, I want the OAL to be how the OAL, as far as like, I want to start bringing some state championships back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because back then we really. I know you guys felt like with PJ and them, like we could win a state championship. Yeah. I know Skyline felt like
if it
that.
wasn't for Mac,
right? You know what I mean? I know Amari and them. I know Amari and them felt like that at Castlemont. So it's like, who else? Fremont definitely felt like that. So if we all can go back to when we coming into the year, we got a shot at winning the state.
You think that Skyline team with Kwame, Neffy,
Hightower
didn't make the playoffs.
That's crazy.
This is a different OAL.
And in my year, they made the championship.
Yeah, it's just different. I mean, different rules and everything, but it's like still like that team with like, a bunch of pro players.
That's crazy.
If they're playing in the competitive equity of now, I think all 6 teams in the OAL make a run. Mac in D5 would go undefeated.
Right.
Us probably would be D2, I think, at the time. Tech didn't make the playoffs at D1. Skyline at D1 would have made some runs. Fremont would have been maybe D3.
Maybe.
At that time. Castlemont, all 6 teams would have made a run in NorCals if the playoff format was different.
It's like how it is now. How do you feel about that? Do you like that or no?
Back then, nah, we playing D1. We playing whoever's in front of us.
Right.
We don't care. Now it's kind of like, you take what you can get because the climate's changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We won it this year and we, made a little run. And
congratulations on that too, by the way. That's huge.
They slotted us in D4, and at that, it's like we'll take it. Like we ain't scared to play no one else, but just how it is right now, we'll take it. We'll play who's in front of us.
Who'd you guys have to play?
University.
In San Francisco?
Yeah.
And they beat you guys?
Overtime. We missed 20.
Is their coach that's been there a while, right?
Yeah. Coach Randy's another real good guy. And
who doesn't he coach an AAU team too?
He coaches it was the Bay Area Warriors, and now they merged with the Bay City Select, so the Bay City Select Warriors.
I remember playing against him as far as on the AAU tip. Exactly. I felt like he was a pretty good coach. His teams are always pretty good.
Yeah, his system and.
I mean, I don't know him personally, obviously, so I don't
really good guy.
Yeah, I don't want to say pretty good. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to plug or touch on real quick?
I mean, while it's that time of
what's going on?
Going on, just with the protests. I think Oakland has always been at the epicenter of that type of stuff. Going all the way back to, Huey Newton and his, what is the name of the Japanese cat that was his boy at Merritt. They started the Black Panthers together. Yeah, one of the first Panthers was an Asian cat. It's just Oakland.
Right.
But it's free speech movement in Berkeley, all that type of stuff. If this can spark more of the youngsters who's focused on, their lives, video games, being lit, all that type of stuff. If we can spark them to start thinking about the world, as a bigger picture, and if basketball could be a part of that. I know Coach Jones up in Merritt.
Man, I love Coach Jones, man.
He already declared that they're not having practice on November 3rd.
And they're going to vote.
They're going to go vote.
Coach Jones, man, I just had a very deep conversation with him over the phone. I haven't known him for long, but he's one of those, like you. He reminds me of, not like you, but you know what I mean, genuine person who wants the climate of basketball in Oakland to change.
And I saw a couple of D1 coaches already, passing that along on Twitter, of hey, we should make it official.
Holy Names did it. I had Coach Brian Rooney from Cal State East Bay here. He told me they're doing it. It's a movement now, and it's starting. I see everybody doing it on Twitter.
And even with us, it's like our kids can't vote yet.
Right.
Let's take them to watch the process, so when it's time, it's not as intimidating. You already know what it looks like. You already know. You just go in, sign in, and go, and then on top of that, policy might be a little too deep, but let's talk about some of the real obvious ones. This is going on. Police brutality right now. Well, what is the protest? What is the end goal? A couple of cops kneel, great, but that same cop 40 minutes later is shooting tear gas. What is the end goal we want? And just getting that thought out to where if we can't change too much, if that next kid can, or the next kid after him can, or just as a community, having more people aware of what's going on. And if basketball is the vehicle to get them to start thinking that, if we can plant those thoughts, even better. Like Coach Jones talking about, the team going to vote as a team. With us taking kids out of the area to see what's going on in other parts of the world, I think that's definitely something as a Oakland basketball community, but I think just youth sports in general, if we can take advantage of this time in history to spark that next brand, instead of just, we can go back to the gym now, everything's over,
right.
Let's get over it and go back to normal. I don't think normal is necessarily the best.
I don't even know what normal is anymore at this point, or what's going to come to be the new normal. I've been reaching out to everybody, slowly but surely, this week and stuff. That's why I made sure I went out to Juan and Kiwi and Digo and Bari and Ace Society. Everybody put on the protest of the day, and I made sure I went out there. First time ever being a part of something like that. I didn't want to go out and do the protest because it was so much stuff going on, and but I made sure I did it, because those are my brothers, obviously. So glad I did it. Probably one of the most powerful things I've ever been a part of. I had chills through my body walking, literally. I wasn't really talking much. Everybody who saw me could tell you that. But I've been I want to really do. I know I do a lot for the youth, and obviously I'm a high school coach, and that we all know what that comes with me coaching at Mac, and I'm not gonna say I'm not doing enough, but I feel like I want to do more, and that's why I say with the camps. So I'm gonna reach out to you. Obviously, I'm gonna start trying to think of some ideas and work with a nonprofit that I've worked with before. See if we can put some stuff together. See if you have some ideas. If you want to be a part of it, obviously, I would love for that. And then let's just go from there, because we all have ideas. You know what I mean? I just want to start putting action into it. Putting action behind it, and let's start doing our part. Because like you said, we might not reap the benefits of it, but as long as we instill certain morals and principles into the younger, then they'll change. They'll have different mindsets and outlooks. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I try to do with my son. It's I let him say how he feels about everything. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. Let me understand why you're thinking. And he's only 6, just made 6. But so now it's but I want him to be comfortable doing that. So when something is bothering him, he's okay with expressing himself in different ways. Because when you hold that stuff in, sometimes it can lash out as violence or anger. And I just, I want to do my part in making sure he can have someone who he can follow as an example, and not just my words. You know what I mean? So I will reach out to you about that once I get some more details. And then
I went to the march that started at Tech on the last Monday.
Oh, that I heard some youngsters put that together, some 19-year-old. That was huge.
Yeah, but I'm just out there, but then I seen, pleasantly surprised, I seen a handful of hoopers.
Will was out there,
and former.
Yep.
I saw the flyer because of Will and Paris.
Okay, yeah, I saw
I'm talking
Paris.
I'm talking high school hoopers.
Oh, current. Oh, that's big.
Current or recent grads, and it was okay, it's not everyone out here, but it's also was
it's a start.
But it's people are definitely in tune, and I think that one was a little different than the one that Juan and them put together, because Juan and them got more clout.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
they had Steph and Clay out there, so it's
it wasn't on the flyer. So people that showed up were going to show up.
Right.
But that Tech one was about 15,000, 20,000 people.
That's what I heard.
And half of them were kids.
That's huge.
And kids I went to another one a couple of days ago. I won't say where, but it was like photo op. Like everyone was taking pictures, and it was like, it's cool. Like, you know, I mean, you're doing something, but the vibe to me felt different. Whereas the one at the lake, the one at Tech, the vibe was very different, and the energy was different, and it was. I don't want to question someone's intentions.
No, I get
the
it.
The perception of the intention, where it's like
it was clear.
You know, was a lot more. I think. I don't want to.
No, I got you. Well, yeah, I definitely agree. First of all, and I know what you mean. Trust me. Anyway, man, thanks for coming up. Obviously, we finally got it done. I want to have you back because we could talk like this forever. You know what I mean? Love what you're doing. Please keep doing it. Obviously, even though I don't know how often you hear it, but we do appreciate it. You know, I probably didn't appreciate it as much as I do now when I was that age in college playing and stuff. But looking back, it's like, man, this dude has always genuinely checked up on me, cared about me, talked shit to me. You know what I mean? Got on my ass if I was bullshitting. You know what I mean? And that's what that's what we need. And you didn't have to do that. You don't reap the benefits. I mean, your benefits are probably watching us succeed and probably grow into the men we are now. So please keep doing that, man. Obviously, if you have anything that you're doing and I want to be a part of it and I can help in any way, I'll do it. And like I said, I'll be reaching out to you about that other stuff later.
Sure.
Sounds good?
Sure.
All right, baby. Thank you.
He said, and I will always continue to say,